Hey everybody, today on my videos we're going to talk a little bit about the rope bags that I have and what I think about them. Also, why you might want to consider a rope bag if you're not using them now. So, oddly enough, I can't imagine why, but I've actually met a few tree service professionals who have been doing it for years and years and decades, and they just don't use rope bags. And honestly, I can't imagine why you wouldn't. There are a bunch of options out. There are different levels. Like this is one from Cheryl Tree. It's their own branded style. I have this one from treestuff.com, which I really like. And then this one's from Wesper. And then this one is a very unique bag. It's a DMM Wells bag that came with the Captain Hook. So I have my 10 mil line in here that I use with my Captain Hook because I bought the kit. So you can buy the hook separate, or you can buy the whole set, which comes with the hook, a 50-foot, I want to say it's Turfelberg. I can't pronounce that company name, I never can. Teufelberg line, I think it is. And then this is the DMM design bag, evidently. It has a daisy chain here for carabiners and stuff. So instead of hooking it like I did here on the line and on the handle, you know, you have a daisy chain that you can, I don't like daisy chains on this stuff a whole lot because they're hard to work with in my opinion, but you can hook it on there like that. So there are differences in all of these bags. Of course, size is one thing. This is 50 foot of 10 mil line, and if you had an 11 or 13 mil line, for instance, you wouldn't be able to fit many feet in here. But 50 foot fits fine. The hook also fits in here. This particular bag here has a unique closure, which I don't really like with this friction device here for the drawstring. But it does fold back just like most stiff-walled rope bags. And it also has, I haven't figured this out a whole lot, but it's got two internal handles as well. They all have the plastic coating tube on the outside of the nylon handles to keep them, you know, in good shape. This one also has on the back a nylon loop for a daisy chain. One thing I really like about this bag in particular is that the bottom is pretty flat. The outside construction is very stiff, so it stays upright well. And also, it is really water resistant. Is it waterproof? I don't know. I've never tested it like that. But when I set it down in snow or whatever, I don't have an issue with this leaking water in and getting the rope wet, which I really like. So that is the DMM bag. It's by far in construction and design, usability of the actual design of it, I think it's probably the most advanced of all the bags I have, and it's probably one of my favorites just because of how it works with water and that kind of stuff. Now, because of the size of it and the designed use for the Captain Hook, I really like the fact that it has the carabiner hook because it hooks on your belt. Your saddle, not a belt. But so yeah, it's definitely a good bag. Probably one of my favorites that I own, but of course within the relative size that it is, right? I don't even know if I haven't actually looked, I don't even know if they make those bags for larger rope. I know they make some kinds of bags, I just don't know if it's exactly like this one here. Now we move on to the Cheryl Tree, the Tree Stuff, and the Wesper bag. So this Wesper bag is a non-branded Wesper bag. It has a enclosure on top. This is what I have my hot wire in, my 13 mil rope. This was my first climbing line, and it is Iron Street spliced. It says, so don't have any other, I'm pretty sure this is hot wire. You can of course cinch it down to keep like snow or sawdust out and still pull out at the same time. All 3 of these bags do that. Well, all 4 of them do. In fact, this DMM one does as well. So that's a pretty typical and standard design for bags, and a feature of them. And I definitely think it's a good design and feature. So of course, this is my rigging rope, my 1/2-inch rigging rope, and you can see that it does the same thing with this bag here. And they all are very similar in design. They have little nuances and things. Honestly, the Cheryl Tree and the Tree Stuff bags seem to be pretty much the exact same bag. I don't even know if there is a difference, especially considering that now these 2 companies are owned by Cheryl Tree. It may be exactly the same bag, just in different colors and with a different logo on it. I don't know for sure. I can't state emphatically that, but I will say they have a strong bottom construction. The walls are pretty stiff and strong, which is nice. So you may think, well, what about a rope bucket versus a rope bag? The one difference that I noticed between a rope bucket and a rope bag is that if you're like me and I climb out of a 4Runner sometimes, so my 4Runner becomes my work vehicle when I'm doing a climbing job and it's just a climbing job, these, while stiff and holding up to be able to put your rope inside, they also compact a little bit and they squeeze around so that you can kind of stuff them into areas, whereas like a 5-gallon bucket with that little bag that goes down in there and cinches up on top, it limits your space just a little bit because the bucket, of course, is just the size that it is, and that's all you have with it. Other than that, though, the one downside, I think, to some of these bags is that they don't have a protector on the bottom. Like, you can just see it's the same bag material on the bottom as it is on the sides. And the reason that that's a negative to me is that when I am having to climb, like as is occurring right now in the winter with snow and stuff, you set it down, and if you don't put a tarp or a plastic bag under it, then it tends to absorb water, and then your line gets wet inside the bag. And then you'll see that I have my climbing line here, this I think it's a Yale 11.7 line that I'm using for climbing now. You'll see that it's laying out, and it's because it was drying because it got wet inside my Cheryl Tree bag. There are tricks that you can do. You can put a garbage bag, set this down inside a garbage bag. That'll help keep water out. You can put a small 6x6 or whatever tarp down and then set this on it, and it will help keep it from getting wet. But if it is actually snowing and snow gets on the tarp while it's sitting on top of the tarp, then it still doesn't help. Usually in that case, a garbage bag is the best option. But these things are incredibly good for a number of reasons. One is that your rope is in one place, and if you have bags like this, I know exactly which rope I'm looking for. And even like I use subcontract guys that are either unfamiliar with tree service to some small degree, or are familiar with tree service but don't work with me daily, and they don't know the colors of my ropes, they don't know which one's my main climb line, they don't know which one's my rigging line, they don't know. So all I have to tell them is, go get the treestuff.com bag that's orange out of the car, or go get the yellow Cheryl Tree bag, or go get the red rope bag. And then they know exactly which line I need, because I'm telling them which bag to look for, instead of them having to discern, well, is this yellow and white rope his yellow rope, or is the yellow and green rope his yellow? It keeps from having confusion go on. And then the biggest reason for having a rope bag, in my opinion, is that I have had guys put my rope in the bags after I've inspected them, of course, because you should always inspect your ropes after every climb or use. I go through it, I inspect it, and then I tell the groundsman, put the rope up, and yet I've had one time that rope was tangled, one time in 9 months of using these bags. And that's because the bags, it's super simple to put your rope in. It's just easy. So I've seen online a few people ask like, why or how do you do this? Well, I'll show you. It's really, really easy. So you just literally open up the bag. And in this case, one of the things about these gaiters on these bags, I guess is what they're called, is that you can fold them back. And with the stiff walled bags, so there are rope bags that are soft walled, but they just like fall over, and I don't like those because it's hard to keep them open when I'm trying to put my line in. But with the stiff walled bags, it's super, super easy. You just fold the gaiter back, you find the end of your line, which is around here somewhere. I saw it earlier. There it is. So you find the end of your line, and you tuft it into the bag. You just flick it in there. You don't have to, don't coil it. Do not coil it. It's hard to keep them straight if you coil them. But I am literally just flicking this into this bag, just like you would a throw line or any other thing. And I just fill the gaps as I go. I mean, I didn't have this real laid out real consistently because I wasn't planning originally on flicking this into the bag on camera, but I thought it might be a good opportunity to talk about it and do it. So this is 160 feet of 11.7, 11.7 millimeter line. It's my new climb line that I'm enjoying with my rope runner. And so I just push it down because it'll have a lot of blade space in there. As I put it down in there, I just flick it. And once it gets a little high, I literally just put my hand flat. And I'll even show you. So I just take it, as you can see it's in there. Oh, it's falling out. And then I just push it down. And then I just flick on top of it, push it down, flick on top, push it down, until it's all in there. And the crazy thing is that it just stays untangled. So I literally don't even think about it that much anymore. I just open up my bag, grab the tail end of my rope, and then I attach it to my throw line, or I attach it to run it through the pulley for a, like if I'm climbing hybrid, for instance. So if I have a SRT line set with, you know, some kind of false crotch up in there, a pulley or whatever, carabiner, whatnot, then I'll clip this in and I'll just pull it, and as I'm pulling it up into the tree, I don't ever think like, is my line going to be tangled? Because it's very, very rare that it gets tangled. Like I said, I mean, I've used these 4 bags now for a number of months. The DMM is my probably only 4 months old. The Cheryl Tree bag, this one and this rope is only probably 2 months old. The West Fur is like 9 months old. The orange bag is probably, you know, a few months old, and never had any problems with my lines getting stuck or tangled while I'm doing this, or pulling it out, I should say. Now, another good thing about the gaiters on these bags up top is that when they're under you and you're doing like a trim, or if you're doing a like a removal and you're in the tree, generally your bag is going to contain most of your rope in it, unless you've had to pull it out to, you know, put in a new tie-in point. And what happens is, as you have the rope out and you're climbing, let's say, when you have it cinched up like that and you're climbing like this, what happens is it keeps limbs and trash and junk from getting down in there. And not only does it keep your rope from getting dirty, but it also helps keep like twigs from falling in there and then getting your rope tangled. When I have tangles, it's usually because I accidentally left the bag open for some reason, like so, and then a twig falls in there and then it gets tangled, you know, around multiple legs of my line or breaks in my line, and it creates friction, and then it just gets tangled and it becomes a mess. But when I keep it shut and have the line pulled out, it pulls out and trash doesn't get down in there nearly as easily, and it doesn't cause any tangling. So I mentioned earlier the bag gets wet if you set it out on the ground, it absorbs water and it gets in. Well, if that does happen, just like, that's when my line was out, and this bag I had to take inside because you can actually see the water stain here. I was climbing in the snow. All I did was I took the line out, I laid it out to air dry, and then I took this inside, put it beside the radiator in the house, and it just dried out. So has a little stain on it, but it works just fine. It's not damaged in any way. So if it does get wet, not the end of the world, just not ideal for when you're actually climbing. Hope that helps you out a little bit with, some of the options you have out there. Just so you know, this DMM bag here, it can contain the hook, which I don't have in here at the moment, but I also have my lanyard set up, and I'll talk about that here in a little bit, about what I'm doing with this line and why. So it has a little bit more space than is needed just for the line, which is nice. And then the Cheryl tree also, the treestuff.com bag also very good, has extra space on top and is totally capable of holding like a sling in there on top of the rope, or a block in a sling. You have plenty of space in there. I mean, you've got like 4 inches from the top to where my rope is, with 160 or 180 foot of 1/2 inch cord in there. So yeah, these things are great. You can not only carry your rope, but you can also carry other equipment on top. So sometimes some people will put like a piece of cardboard, set other things on top of it, and then close it up, and you have it separated so like a sling isn't getting tied into, knotted up inside your line or whatever. So for the $25 or $30 that they are, go get them. They're totally worth it. And if you use them right, which is very easy as I just showed you, you will not regret it, I promise. And I don't know how even your groundsman can really screw them up that bad if they have any kind of attention to just being, following instructions that are simple. So hope that was beneficial for you guys. Hope to see you in the next one. Please check out the links that are below. They're Amazon affiliate links as well for rope bags, and if you buy through them, that helps me keep the channel going. Don't forget, if you feel like it, go purchase from these guys. I do support them as well. West Spur, Tree Stuff, Cheryl Tree, DMM Wells. And if you choose to buy from them instead of through my affiliates, I understand, but affiliate links help pay me to keep me to have these channel or this channel keep going. So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.